This video demonstrates how to use the data cleansing tool to replace nulls with blanks or zeros. Now that we have brought the data into Alteryx, we can start our data preparation or data cleansing. We will begin with some basic data cleansing using the data cleansing tool. Go ahead and open up the preparation menu and drag and drop the data cleansing tool onto our canvas. As we do so, we will see a connection appear from the original input tool to our data cleansing tool. That's what that dashed line is, and when we release, the dashed line will become solid. This connection tells Alteryx to take the data as it's read in from the Excel file and then pass it into the data cleansing tool. If the connection is made by Alteryx, but you didn't mean to have a certain connection made, you can always go ahead and click on the line and then hit the delete on your keyboard to remove that connection. You could then move the tool around your canvas and or make a direct connection by clicking on an output anchor from one tool and dragging it over to the input anchor of the other tool. With the data cleansing tool, we see both the input anchor and an output anchor. This is because we need to input the data into the data cleansing tool so that the data cleansing tool can clean the data. Alteryx has several default options pre-selected in the data cleansing tool. The first option is the Replace Nulls option, which tells Alteryx to find null or missing values and replace it with blanks or zeros. When using the data cleansing tool, you should consider whether this default option is appropriate. For example, in our data set, it may not be appropriate to replace a null value in the age of roof column with a 0, as we might end up underestimating the roof's age when a value is missing. For example, some roofs in our data set could be less than 1 year old, thus having a 0 value in the data set. If the adjuster forgot to enter the year 10 into the age of roof, and we tell Alteryx to replace nulls in the age of roof column with a 0, then our analysis would have this observation as having a roof that is less than 1 year old, when in reality the roof is 10 years old. However, the data should have either an estimated cost to repair or an estimated cost to replace. As such, we would like to replace the nulls in these columns with 0 values. We can customize the data cleansing tool to focus just on replacing nulls in these two columns. To do so, we're going to go ahead and navigate up to the Select Fields to Cleanse pane, and we're going to navigate over to the None so that we can deselect all of the fields. Then we're going to use the scroll bar to scroll down until we find the estimated cost to repair and estimated cost to replace fields. We went ahead and checked the boxes next to each of these fields so that we tell Alteryx just to replace nulls in these two fields or columns. The second default option is to remove unwanted characters, specifically leading and trailing white spaces. It is generally a good idea to remove or trim leading and trailing white spaces. While leading and trailing white spaces do not cause humans any problem and may have been entered purposefully for formatting purposes, computer programs in general do not know how to handle spaces, as spaces are read in as something by computer programs instead of the nothing that we see. There are a number of other options, such as the ability to remove letters, tabs, numbers, or punctuation. It can be important to remove punctuation, both to remove symbols such as a $sign in front of a monetary value, but also to remove commas, such as the 2 commas you would commonly find in the number 1,500,000. While the comments help us humans interpret the value, a computer program, including Alteryx, will automatically characterize the value as being a string data type, since it contains both numbers and characters, those commas. String data types are not eligible for mathematical operations. So if we wanted to use the field for aggregating the data, multiplication, or identifying basic statistics, we need to change the data type to a number. However, if we convert this field from a string data type to a numeric data type, Alteryx would only keep the values before the first character. As such, it would alter our data from 1,500,000 to 1, which can cause obvious problems for our data analysis. You can also modify the case, which becomes important when you're trying to merge data sets with different cases, such as one data set inputs all of its account titles using capital letters, and another data set utilizes account names that have a mix of capital and lowercase letters. It's usually a good idea, if you're going to use the default configurations, to add a second data cleansing step to complete any other options, or to add as many data cleansing steps as necessary if you want to perform different data cleansing steps for different columns or fields. For now, we only need one data cleansing step, so we can go ahead and run our workflow. Now that we have cleaned the data, we can turn our attention to other common data preparation tasks.